Hello! I want to speak about languages that have something common with other things that I do, which is playing the guitar and singing. Something common and something different. One thing they have in common is that you can speak hours about guitar chords, shapes, and but if you don't play them, you cannot move from one chord and shape to the other one effortlessly. When it comes to languages, the ratio of active and passive is inverted. It means in order to play an instrument, you spend most of the time playing the instrument. Listening to other players is important, mainly if you play jazz, if you improvise. When it comes to languages, there is overstated, let's check the volume, emphasis on the active part. Okay, you cannot hear anything. Overemphasized. I hope you heard me before because the volume was so low. There is overemphasis on speaking. I'm speaking right now. Yes, it's a video, but normally. We should listen to the language. And I think, in a way, listening to the language we're learning is more active. What do I mean by that? When we speak, there are two ways of speaking a language. The first is haphazard. We speak and we want to get understood, and we make mistakes. But the main aim is being understood. The other way is using what we already know and be as simple as possible. These two ways are both useful. The first way is useful when you can be checked, where there is a feedback. It's very, very counterproductive if you do not have somebody who corrects you. The second way is important also, and we don't make mistakes. It's important to practice the language to make more fluid and effortless what you already know. One exercise you can do is pretend to be speaking on the phone with somebody else. You can do wherever you want, because people are not going to consider you crazy. In the past, if you were speaking on your own, you were considered a weirdo. Nowadays, you can pretend to be on the phone, and you can speak the language you want. Imagine a conversation, imagine a situation, speak about things you want to, speak about what's going on. If you're learning a language that people don't understand, it's even better, because of the people around you, Anyway, but many times we normal people have an approach very, very theoretical to the language. They learn rules, they learn how to, and in a way it seems a streamlined way of learning. I don't make you make an effort, I give you the best way to learn. There are pros and cons. I see more cons than pros. The pros is where you're an adult, you have your mind already developed, you can cut to the chase and understand where this rule, how to use a rule, for example the present perfect. The other way is I give you so many samples of the usage and so you can infer the usage like you did with your first language. The second way is much more longer, but is more the result is more imprinted in your mind. There are also there can be something in the middle, like we negotiate the meaning if I have a teacher, and then I can have you guess the rule. But always everything stems from real life examples. So the best way is to use what you already know and build on that. When I see online many would-be teachers that have no idea of how languages are taught, that explain in the language you already know, the present perfect, the past simple, whatever, is pandering to the audience, because audience are lazy, many people are used to this kind of learning. And I always stress, learning a language, acquiring a language, absorbing a language is a skill. That's why I tend not to use the word learn. It's not being fussy or splitting the hair in four. Why don't you use learn? Because we associate learning with memorizing things, with active study. I know it sounds strange, but the way I see active is letting our mind infer from something that sounds passive as listening. But our mind process all this is automatic. It's what we did in the first language and what we do in the second language. The second way of learning through deducing things make sense of what you hear has a lot of advantages. First of all, you keep on listening to the language. Even if you're practicing a rule, you're always repeating the sounds of the language. You listen to words you already know. So it seems that all this time to learn the rule, no, because you've been also practicing other things. So you're exposed to a constant flux of sounds and words. And that's very important. Learning a language is not repeating sentences. It's not memorizing stock sentences or phrases. No, it's a whole different ballgame. It's getting the gist, the smell, the sounds. Otherwise is just translating. Another language has another flavor. Okay, so you don't always you do not have to compare every time you learn. Sometimes with the sign that you really absorb in the language, when you learn words, concept, and you don't really know the translation in your language, you haven't learned this word, like the matching of another word or meaning in your language. So sometimes they don't fit because the meaning of a language is the average usage of the native speakers, and for many abstract concepts and notions, they do not coincide. So I strongly recommend learning the target language in the target language. Do not resort to long-winded speeches about how Italians use that tense. Okay, so I'm sure there is not some material that has been conceived thus. So images, pictures. Why I say images is images, pictures, situations, videos. At the beginning, just skip reading. You shouldn't care about spelling unless you read, and then you have to know the matching of sounds and spelling. That's the reason why when I speak Greek, in spite of the fact that I don't live in Greece, but I'm constantly exposed not to a continuum flux, not continuum, of videos. I watch what I'm really interested. I check the words I don't know first in an English and a Greek dictionary, and I get the gist of that. If it's a tree or something specific, I try to watch images, and as a last resort, I use an English-Greek dictionary. Okay? Other things, don't be shy. Exploit every chance you have of speaking the language you want to learn. Mainly nowadays, not like in the days of yore when I first learned Greek, there was nothing. Nowadays you have the internet. You can have a lot of resources, but the weak point is that you don't use it. You understand a lot, and that's a good basis, and then you have to use. As we know, if the approach is good, you understand much more than what you can really say, and that's normal. But when you have a chance, grab it. Don't be shy. Tell if I make major mistakes, or if I make some mistakes, you can interrupt me, or tell me at the end if you remember what I said wrong. Okay? Do not make excuses in order not to speak the language. Don't see learning a language, absorbing the language, or listening to the language as a chore. If you basically skip days, you're not interested. So why in the first place should you learn the language unless you're for some circumstances you're obligated to? I'm speaking now more for people who want to learn a language. Many people fail at English because they, first of all, don't overestimate or underestimate the difficulty of learning a language. English is a very rich language. The sounds are many, the spelling is complicated. There's British English, American English, and grammar seems easy, but it's not. Morphology is easy, but other things are not easy, and is a huge vocabulary. That doesn't mean that at the beginning I have... Anyway, it's a long process. Respect the language, don't be afraid, but do not underestimate. Good results are gonna come to you in the long run. You have short-term goals, that's good, but it takes time. It takes a lot of doing. It takes a lot of being exposed to the language, guessing, and first of all, don't be focused only on one aspect. Some people want to learn words. Some people mainly grammar. Some people want to have a perfect accent. Well, they all come hand in hand. A person who knows the language at the back of his hand is supposed to have a pretty decent accent. when it comes to accent, I see two extremes. People who don't care and people who are overzealous. Do not make this mistake. Accent is important, and there are two aspects. Speaking Greek. Pronouncing the building blocks, the single sounds well, and connecting them in a good way, and have the musicality and the rhythm of a language. Every language has their own rhythm. The second thing is a little bit more difficult. It makes you closer to native speakers, but the first thing is first and foremost. You cannot speak English if you don't see the difference between, for example, cock and coke. It would be a big mistake to confuse that. Lost and last. Other things, if you learn English, pay attention because there are different accents, and at the beginning I think it's more important to be in a time fixed on British English or American English, just because at the beginning it can be confusing, and then you move on and you will once you know the grounds of the phonetical of the language, of the kind of English you are learning, you can move on without any confusion. So I repeat, leave the language, listen to the language, don't use dictionary, but try to infer the meaning, try to see in a monolingual dictionary the meaning. If you're learning Italian, use a simple Italian dictionary. If you don't understand that, Google it and see sentences. And if it's one single word, also you can use pictures on Google, and that's a very creative, active approach to learning. What I do sometimes, I buy a book with a lot of space around what is written, and I take notes. So when I reread the book, I have all the notes and all the words I'm learning right over there. Don't mind spoiling or ruining the book. This is a tool to an end, and then you can learn new words. I strongly recommend that when you are pretty advanced, and starting from very simple books, that you can use for example, in Greek, I use this. It's very spoken language. I like it a lot. You should know this. It's Diary of a Wimpy Kid, I think in English. And as you see, okay, this is a very spoken language, okay? If you want to learn spoken language, buy something this is from 11 to 12 to 14-year-old boys or girls. And but if you already speak every day, try to buy something that you don't really use, so to widen your vocabulary, and reread several times, and another thing you can do is speak. I said pretend to be on the phone, so you can practice your active speaking. Try to use the language you already know, otherwise you're just practicing mistakes. So try not to overstep your knowledge, but just to make more. You do that in order to get more comfortable speaking. If you never speak the language, you have difficulty articulating even your native language. If you've been living abroad for a long time, you have difficulty sometimes in your native language at first moments. It's just a question of habits. Some people know the language. When they have to speak, they just get this. They get stuck. Do not get this hang-ups. be quite confident without being overconfident. However much we think we know the language, we'll never. Reality is more complex, more complicated than that. That's a lot of advice about how to go about learning foreign languages. Active, passive, I would say. I mean, listening a lot and working on that. Take notes, because our memory is like a sieve. I mean, our brain is absorbed only after repeated exposure, you see, to the one thing. So one time is not important, and then I will give you other advices about other advice. There's some plural for advice, you see, about other things. Do not watch overachievers. These people spend the whole day and they make videos in a way they seem to be perfect in 8-9 languages. I don't believe that. I believe their working knowledge of these languages, they can be pretty good. They can never be on very high level, given the fact that even 3 languages is difficult to master. And there's no secret. These people upload videos, they can edit these videos, they can do their things several 10, 20 times and upload the best take they have, and they use words you already know. And basically, I would say, in a real life situation where people speak normally and they use colloquialism and other things, they have difficulty really being that good in 9, 10, 11, 12 languages. So that's not interesting. Think about what you gotta do and do it, and you see you will have constant results. And one day you wake up and you will listen to a video, will understand 99% of the language, and you say, okay, be constant, do that every day. Take it as a pleasure, not as a chore. And if you really do not have results, it means that you're not really interested. So why don't you pick up a guitar and play the guitar? Goodbye.